let's continue on to create the other two loops. Same thing like before, create this object to be live, and I'll use my quad draw tool over here, and same thing like before, I'm just going to create all of the dots, lines that we need for these guys. Right, so I'm just going to complete this one over here, then continue on this. And we'll go ahead and fill this one up as well. Alright, same thing like before, I'm just going to center the pivot and scale it just tight slightly. Maybe I'll expand it a bit more, and then we'll start to merge some of these guys together. Let's just get out of this live mode first, and then we'll go ahead and merge the vertices. Alright, right around there. Let me just move this guy so that things don't get complicated and stuff like that. Now let's scale him just a bit more, and probably expand it out a bit. And I'm just going to take my faces and I'm going to extrude it like how we did before. Right, and we're going to reverse the normals as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and push and pull some of these guys up. Make sure this inside here is already smoothed. Wait, before that, let's add a few loops like how we did for the other string. I guess you can call it a string. Just add some of these loops around here, and I'm just gonna push and pull some of them around just to get it a bit more random. Okay, now we can start to get to the fun part and push and pull some of them around. Alright, let me just move this one as well. So that's our second strap right over there. Probably need to adjust the first strap a bit more. Sometimes you see something that happens as you model something else, and then the first thing that you model earlier on is something wrong. So don't be afraid to go back in there and adjust whatever is necessary. Okay, so go ahead and create the third quad after that. Just adjust it just a bit more. Alright, then on to the third quad. Again, I'll make this live object, and we'll go to the front part here and start to do the quad draw thing. Alright, so let me just bring this all the way around. As you can see, these two, they're kind of adjacent, so they're quite close to each other, so that's alright. Just gonna make sure that they don't clash or anything like that. Probably didn't do that right. Let's try that again. It's to be up from there. Okay, so this is our third one. We probably need to go and adjust some of them. As you can see, some of it are not merged properly. Let's get out of live mode and start to merge the vertices right down the middle. Right, these guys here probably need to push out. Back in again. Alright, so you get the drill. Basically we need to do the same for this guy, where extrude it and then move it along the proper path, etc, etc. So like I said, I like to have this guy to be quite close around this area here, so you can start to make some of these adjustments in the beginning before we extrude them out. Alright, so just like before, we're going to take the faces over here and extrude them inside. Reverse the normals again and scale. Probably want to adjust it a bit more. And I'll use my loop tool to add some extra divisions over here, just like how we did it before, and we'll start to move them around. Alright, so here where the fun part begins, where we need to adjust some of the things to make sure they're in order, and you can go ahead and design it yourself, I guess. So take your own time to kind of get the right look you want going visually. Go and rotate some of these areas as well. Right, the key is, I'm not gonna be too detailed about it in and show you every single step. If I can help it, I will. Just want to show you where you can start, and then after that you take it off from there, right? So again, if I have more time, I'll go and tweak some of this a bit better, but for now it's kind of okay. And you don't have to be too anal about stuff. That's something I learned about production, doing 3D modeling production. You be too anal about stuff. There's just this thing about in the industry where they say that a model is never really finished. You just try to model it as best that you can look at the given time frame that you have. You know, people always say, oh, if I only have another day, another 2 days, I've made it look better. But yeah, I mean, that's life. You just have to do what you can with the amount of time given. So again, as long as it looks nice, that's my general rule here. As long as it looks nice, it is nice. That's what I keep telling myself, and that's how I survive in the industry. Okay, great. We have one last more to do, which is the stop guy over here. Now instead of doing the quad draw tool, what I'm going to do instead is I'll use my insert edge loop tool over here and take the faces that's right on top, and then we're going to duplicate those faces over here. I have the shortcut right here. Alright, so it basically duplicate, it doesn't extract, it just take a copy of whatever I have over there. Right, so now for this top guy over here, it's kind of simple. You really have to take the faces over there and extrude them inside. And it's just the same thing as how I did it before. Reverse to normal, add a few loops, and then adjust it. That's how I like it to be. Okay, great. So got that bottom part more or less done. I just want to spend a bit more time on this main leg over here, where I'll do the creases and stuff like that in ZBrush, but I just want to add a few loops and stuff like that, just to just so that later on when I go to ZBrush I have that extra mesh over there for me to play around with. I won't be getting all those wrinkles and nooks and crannies right now. I just want something visually there to represent what I need. Later on, then we'll do some of the wrinkles. I mean, I did some of the wrinkles over here, but right over here, I want to have the wrinkles over this side and make it as if this thing is strapping around it. I can't do it in Maya, at least I can, but it will take me ages to do it. Now let's work on these guys over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude it inwards, push it down a bit more, and extrude it one more time, so it's gonna cover inside of this mesh. Use some loops over here, and basically this is just gonna like overlap and cover those areas right there, similar to how we did the creases over here. Would need to add a few more loops around here. Perhaps one more that way. Oh, let's add one more here as well. So the idea is just I want to make sure that it covers this part here, it kind of overlaps that part over there. And as again, I'm not too concerned about, let's just adjust this, I'm not too concerned about how the crease fall and stuff like that. You really can't get these things done in Maya. You have to do it in ZBrush. Get the proper folds and stuff like that done. Is it smooth? Yep. So that means I need to adjust some of these guys a bit better. Alright, so let's get back to this one over here. Just try to push and pull stuff along and just try to see where it can make sense. Like I said, we'll go to ZBrush and make it look much more realistic. Okay, kind of happy with that setup for now. Probably what I want to do is still want to make a bit of adjustment. So one thing that I can do is I can go ahead and combine these guys. right, and that allows me to move all of the vertex together over here just a bit, and now I can separate them later on. Alright, so we're gonna continue on. The next part where what I'll start to tackle is this inner clothing, this inner line over here, and then we'll do the outer line. Probably will skip this wolf, I don't know, wolf jacket, whatever he has over there. Doesn't look very warriorish. I prefer to have this colorful dress like suit that he's wearing. It kind of brings out his character much better. So we'll start to do that in the next part. Alright, so let's continue on with this character, our samurai character. And what I'm going to do next is, if you look right here, the inside over here, he has this extra piece of clothing going around him. Right, so we're going to model that next. As I said in the earlier video, I'm going to skip this, I don't know what you call it, like a wolf jacket that surrounds his waist. I'm going to skip that one, and I'm just going to have these two very nice samurai-like dressing that he's wearing around his waist. I'm gonna model those things instead. I'm gonna model those inner dressing first. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate the body from the leg, the upper body from the leg first. I'm gonna extract that. Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start to pick up those areas that that look similar, which is mostly these guys right over here. Alright, so guess what I want to do is I just want to grab those areas that are more relevant, which I think I just discussed over here, and I'll later take these edges and extrude it this way later on. Okay, so I'm just going to select this group of faces here, and we're going to duplicate those faces, which is this tool over here. Right, so I'm going to duplicate it and let's push it out just a bit. Right, so I just noticed that I'm on Maya Classic. Let me just change back to my Maya Standards just in case I need some of these tools that we have over here. Right, so I'll center the pivot over there, and I've gone ahead to push this piece of geometry a bit out here. Now let me just go ahead and rearrange some of these vertices over here, and what I'm going to do is just going to push in some of them inside here. Just want to give them a bit more meat. Alright, because later on we're going to extrude it, and we need it to give space to our model. Let me just scale this up forward and scale this to make it a bit more straighter. So here's a bit of a tricky part, because it's not really showing any of his body form or shape, and we need to try to create a design, I guess, for that piece of clothing that's the inner wear of this samurai character. I just have it like that for now, and we're gonna take these edges here and extrude it one more time to make sure it lines up to the center here. If you go to the front, going to make sure, press and hold X and make sure it lines up to the center here. So usually what I would do is I'll press R to scale it to make it straight line, and then I'll go ahead and press and hold X to make sure it goes back here in the center. And basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to give space to as much of this guy as possible, and then of course we'll soften the edges. Right, so we got that inner wear more or less there. Let me just push and pull some of these vertices around just a bit more to create the shape of it. And this guy over here at the center, what I think I will do is I'll just, let me see, I will just leave it as such, and then after that we have this center part, the one that's from the outerwear, to cover this area over here. Right, so it won't be too complicated. Notice some funny thing happening over here. So sometimes when you have this kind of things happening, all you gotta do is go to the hypersheet and fix this. Alright, so once we see something like this where you see a green suddenly appearing like that, most of the times because this guy was initially assigned to a Lambert shader, and then because we deleted that Lambert shader, Maya gets confused and doesn't know where this face is supposed to be assigned to, because the original shader, whatever it may be, a Lambert, a Blinn, whatever we have over here, has already been deleted, and Maya is confused and is not sure where this guy is supposed to be assigned to. So all you have to do is just select that face and assign it to the initial group, and that's how you fix those problems. Alright, so going back to this guy over here, I'm just going to push and pull some of them a bit more to kind of get it into the desired shape. The important thing, I want the edge flow, like how I mentioned earlier. If the edge flow of the further edge, the top edge, is like this, the corresponding edge that's beside it needs to kind of follow this edge with a little bit of tweaking to make it a bit more straight. So you don't want it to be, if one thing is a bit wavy at the top, you don't want it to be straight away. You want it to be slightly wavy, and then slowly the third line will be a bit more straighter. So that's how I usually approach it. What I'm going to do is just going to add one more line just across here, and let's expand this a bit more. I'm just going to give a bit of meat across some of these areas here. Alright, that's okay for now. Now I'll go ahead and take the faces for these guys, and let's go ahead and extrude them inwards. Alright, then I'm going to go ahead and reverse the normals. So let's go ahead and reverse them. Okay, I have this thing called hide unselected object, so it allows me to kind of focus on this guy a bit better. What I want to do, let me just undo that for a bit. Alright, so what I want to do here is to kind of delete some of these inside faces that I would probably won't need. Alright, because it's not going to be seen anyways. So I just want it to have some faces going around it, but not the whole way around. Alright, so what I mean by that is, first of all, let me just get this outline over here. As you can see, this gray area, I want it to be a bit more expanded. So first things first, I'm just going to go to my faces and delete this inside over here, because obviously we're not going to see that. It's going to be mirrored over to the other side. And now we'll go ahead and insert the loop tool around here, and I'm going to select the faces that is corresponding over there. And what we're going to do is we're going to extrude it first, so it will become slightly bigger. Alright, so that is kind of that gray area over there. Probably I want to go ahead and move some of the vertices a bit further, so it will give more space to the gray area. Alright, so we've hidden this over here. Just want to see how it looks like overall. For now it's kind of okay. Let's just delete some of these faces on the outside as well. Alright, so it will match up later on to the other side. Okay, let me just add a few more loops over here just to make sure that this kind of looks like wrinklish. Okay, so that's supposed to, if I just press 3, it's supposed to create that area around for the gray part over there. Probably want to add 1 or 2 more over here. Alright, just to make sure it kind of like goes around the red and the other kind of colors that you see over here, of course we're going to do it as a texture instead, so I'm not too worried about that. And I'll just add one more loop around here just to hold that top shape over there. Right, so I'll go back to the front and go to my vertices, and I want to make sure that all of these are straight so that we can mirror this properly. So select those vertices, press R, make it a straight line, and then press and hold X to snap it to the grid. Right, so that will make sure that it's aligned directly to the center. Okay, so in the next part what we're going to do is we're going to start to create the outside of this skirt over here. Alright, I'm not exactly sure what you call it. Samurais call it skirt or some kind of warrior thingy. So we're going to start to create that. Probably want to create a few of it. So you have one to the side and then maybe one more to the back or something like that. We'll see how. So probably altogether we have 5, 2 on each side and 1 in the center. Okay, so the next part we're going to tackle, let's do the outerwear, this first corner piece over here, right there in the center. Several ways for us to go ahead and do this. I guess what I want to do instead is just to create a simple plane, right? And we'll go ahead and rotate it this way down. Let me just make sure that it is at 90 degrees. Alright, that's right. And we want to make sure that these guys, just change back to my Maya Classic over here. Get our channel box, and just want to make sure that these guys are 1 by 1. Right. So let's bring this guy to the center because we only model half. We don't model the whole thing at the same time. And just gonna start to create a shape over here. Right, same thing like how we do traditional way of modeling it. It's gonna go to the side and see, put it here, so to make sure that everything is lined up properly. And then we'll go ahead and extrude it a few times. Probably extrude it one more time here. Alright, somewhere around there. Alright, so what we'll do is we're going to add a few lines in between, again just to make sure it's not flat. Yes, a bit more width and shape to it. Just take these edges over here and move it up forward. And just move the vertices around. Again, the idea is to you need to look at very different angles and just make sure that everything kind of lines up. Again, my very important rule for me is that all these accessories that you have for your characters, you got to make sure it's tight. What I mean by tight is that it connects to the body naturally and doesn't. It's not as if it's a loose item that can be easily come off, because that would give your character away. That would make people have the illusion that it's not exactly a correct character. It's not exactly what it's not exactly what we. It's not part of the character. So that's one of the more important things about modeling, is that you just need to ensure that all of these things are into place, right? And sometimes you need to make compromises here and there as well. So like right over here, as you can see, some of these areas is a bit too far out, because I was just trying to follow the modeling sheet, the concept art, but obviously when we bring it back to perspective, it doesn't make sense. So I'm just gonna pull it back out again. Alright, and later on we're actually gonna have to extrude because I forgot that we needed to extrude this guy inward, so that's going to fill up that gap and fill up the space, so we're not going to be too worried about that one. And again, I usually try to get it, if you are sculpting it in ZBrush, I try to get it about 70% right or about 65% right, because the other 35 or 30% is going to come from ZBrush anyways. Alright, let's go ahead and soften this guy. And let's see, let's go ahead and just extrude him inside. And alright, and I'm just gonna reverse these guys, and let's see from over here if it's a bit too far out. Alright, now let's put some loops around here and make it more cloth like. Okay, these guys over here, now let's just evaluate this a bit more. This guys over here, is really up to you what you want to do. You want it to be a separate piece or something like that. For me, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have it as a separate piece, right? Perhaps some kind of golden circle over here. Now we have these lines over here, the yellow line over here at the bottom. I guess what I'm gonna do is similar to this guy, where it's kind of like aging out. And then here I'll just make it like, you know, those sofa or those cushion where it kind of ages out a bit as well. Right, so let's get to that. First of all, what I want to do is let's draw a line. Let me see, let's just hide these guys first, center the pivot. Let's draw a line somewhere across here, because it's just gonna cover up that space anyway. And this will go all the way to the back. I'm going to delete this and just going to cover this again all the way to the back over here. This one I'll give it a bit more space. Right, so that will give me my 4 quads. Now what I'll start to do is I'll start to draw the rings over here. Right, so this is where we start to run into problems because there's just not enough edges across this way. So let's go ahead and draw one line out there, and then it should be able to follow the line. Let's do it one more time. Sometimes you gotta separate out because Maya just doesn't want to accept that for some reason. Okay, so I have these lines over here. I can kind of like span it out a bit. And I'll pull some of these guys out and away. See this one in the center, obviously we don't need because it's going to be mirrored. So I'll delete those things away. And let's add a few more loops across here. Probably gonna squeeze this inside a bit more. Let me just soften the edge, see how it looks like, and I'll press 3. Right, something like that kind of looks okay. I just wanna push and pull some of these vertexes out, faces out, give it a better edge, give it a more convincing edge over there. Again, it's just these small minute details. I know it'd be like, hey, why are you spending so much time on small little stuff like that? But it's the small little stuff that make your model look great, so that's why I'm spending some time tweaking them. Life of a modeler. Now let's get one more loop across that way, perhaps one more loop across this way. Yep, a bit more convinced on that. I probably wanna push in some of these guys here, give it more space. Right, let's see how we can fix this. Because obviously it's not supposed to be acting that way. Let's see where this is coming from. It's the inside edge over here. So you have to push them down a bit, especially the vertices over here. Yep, something like that is okay. Alright, now let's get to the other parts. First of all, let me just make this line a bit more thicker. Right. Now let's bring everyone back and see what we are missing next. So the next part is this red part over here, where we wanna get somewhat of a line going on over there. Right, and good news is that we can use these vertices that we have and kind of just like push and pull them a bit here and there. Alright, and probably want to have one line up here. So these are the ones that's going to be red in color. Right, so next part is I'm just going to draw lines over here, push it down, and give it that illusion that is some kind of extruded thing coming out this red area over here. Right, first things first, I have to go and fix this line over here. Just want to draw one line across that way, and let's continue and add lines across the other sides. So sometimes when you do that computation, Maya just doesn't want to accept it, and instead it gives this funny line over here. So it's okay, we can just work with this for now. Let's just leave that line over there and just redraw it over here. That line is kind of like a support structure that Maya kind of needed, I guess, before we can actually do anything with it. So later on we can go ahead and delete these guys, and all we gotta do is match this one up. And again, sometimes Maya doesn't allow you to do that. Instead, what you can do is just delete that face. I mean, for me, this is the fastest way you can go about doing it. So you go and delete that face and use the pen to polygon tool and cover them up. Alright. Let me continue on with these guys over here. Let's just move some of these vertices across this way. Alright. Now we have triangles over here, and the thing about triangles is people will be like, oh, they're no good and stuff like that, but it's not necessary. It's just we try to minimize triangles wherever we can. Right, so over there I'm trying to minimize one triangle by creating a square across over here. So we have the other triangle right at the bottom here. All I have to do is draw a line across this way, and we can go ahead and move this one out into position. Now what that allows me, it should allow me to draw a loop across over here, right, and that loop I can use to push in. Right, we push in some of these guys inside here and draw that cloth structure that we needed earlier. Right, moving on, I'm just gonna push this guy out a bit and scale him down. Alright, let's continue adding a few more lines across. Just want to make sure that that support structure is more or less there. Again, trying to create that red part of the cloth area over there. Right, soften the edges, and I'm just going to press 3. Right, so it's more or less getting out the shape that we want. I'm still not liking it because there's just not enough gap that we need. Right, so what I'm gonna continue doing is to draw lines across. Right, I'll draw that line for now. Probably wanna push and pull some of these guys in a bit more. Let's see, let's go ahead and delete this inner line over here, and then because this guy is already out, I'll take this outside line and push it out as well and expand it. Let's draw a few more lines to kind of push it in. Just want to emphasize the fact that that area is created. Alright, so it's more or less about there. Just need to fix some of these guys over here. Probably I lost it when I was doing the split polygon computations. So let's go ahead and push down some of this and delete this away. See, why not we delete everything away and use our pencil polygon tool to fix this. Let me just move some of this out into position a bit. Oops, wrong one. We're gonna fill this hole, right? Probably there is 5-sided here, so therefore I need to bring this all the way around. Let's hide these guys and put a ring across that way, and we merge it up. Later on we need to go and make a final check on Maya as well to make sure that all of this has no 5-sided. I think I have another 5-sided over here I need to kind of fix. It's okay to have triangles, it's not okay to have anything more than 4 sides in Maya. And again, when I say it's okay to have triangles, but that doesn't mean we need it all the time, so therefore we need to check what we need and what we don't actually need. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just adjust this guy to make it a bit more of like a cushion feel, I guess. Alright, so it will look a bit more natural than just as if it's a kind of metal plating over there. I just want it to be more like embroidery feel to it. Right, something like that is okay for now. Let's bring everybody back, and first thing first, let me just delete the history of everyone and bring everyone back down to 1, history, center the pivot, and freeze the transformation. Usually I use these 3 tools to kind of clean up my model as I go along modeling it. Alright, one more thing is that, you see here, let's try to push some of this guy a bit, so it's up a bit. I just want it to be a bit more of an angled look over here. That would allow me to place these circle ringy things that I can put right over there. For those circle ringy things, I'm just going to put it on top. Just draw one more line across here and across here and let it fit to each other. That way. Kind of holds the integrity of the shape a bit better, I guess. Now let's go ahead and tweak them. Just want it to be a bit more circular, where it kind of waves in instead of being very straight. I want it to be a bit more curved and flexible. Right. Usually what I would like to do with this one is, first of all, add more loops across here and maybe here. and then I'll go ahead and use a lattice. So go to deform and we'll create a lattice. Alright, let's change some of these numbers up. Right, and we go to our lattice point, and then we can start to adjust this as and how we need it to be. Right, then once you're done that, just select the model and we delete the history. Okay, now it's looking more like a proper production character. Right, so I'm going to press 3 on that. Now let's continue on. In the next part, we'll do similar like this for the outside over here. Probably do one big one here and then another one over here, and then we'll duplicate it over to the other side.